One happy Monday to you. Here we are. So I'm just going to start talking because people come on these things and they catch them when they can. And, usually the first 5 minutes is just someone's sitting there in front of the camera, not saying a word, waiting for other people to come on. And then it gets recorded and then it's played back. And then people come and watch it and they have to fast forward to when the person on the camera starts talking. So I'm not even going to wait, and that's not a problem. If people show up in the live broadcast, like someone just did, hi, welcome. Um, then it's all good. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do that to those who are here and just let them have them sit and be wait for me to start talking. So I haven't really said anything yet anyway. So it's Monday. It's the 8th of November, and 2021. Oh Jesus, I didn't even change the freaking thing for the date here. Gosh darn. It is. I tell you, this stuff you gotta like be on top of it, and I'm learning. I don't care about being perfect right now. It's just not gonna happen. Oops. Doggone it. Hold on. Oh, for goodness heaven's sakes. Hang on, people. It's okay. I will get myself together. I don't have to be perfect. And you don't either. So, bam, there it is. Changed. Closed. Here we go. Alrighty. Monday, 8 November 2021. And so, what am I up to? Well, I just was watching. I was just watching a video on how to put a website together and put copy together and all of that stuff. Trying to figure out this technology because I'm just a dumbass tanker. That's what we call it. Or if you're on a SEP, Systems Enhanced Package, then you're Abrams, then you're a CDAT, computerized dumbass tanker. So I'm not. I don't claim to be super tech savvy. I didn't go to school for that. I wasn't taught that in school, and so I don't know what I'm doing half the time, and that's okay. I'm learning as I go, and I'll keep saying that to remind myself and to remind you that we don't have to be perfect. We can just do the best we can and learn and grow together. So one of the things that I've noticed with these videos that I've been watching is that I end up getting anxious and I kind of zone out when they're ramrodding a ton of information at me. And there's just so many words happening per second. And what I notice is that there's these little edits, they're blurbs, and then they go back and they edit them and they jump them together. And what happens is the person that I'm watching on the video is in a different position, even if it's just a few millimeters off. They're not in the same place they were when they stopped the video or when they spliced those two segments together. And so it's kind of, even if it's thought, they make it to be somewhat as seamless as they can, it's not seamless. It is choppy. My mind catches it. Our minds do that. We process thousands upon thousands of pieces of information every millisecond. So it's very challenging for me. So this woman who is, I don't know, she's probably like in her late 30s, mid to late 30s, very attractive, very brilliant, knows her stuff, is running down all this information and it's valuable. Like I really want to know. I really want to learn from her. And all I can do is stare into her big, beautiful blue eyes to just try and hang on. And I find myself like unable to consciously retain the information that she is presenting. I don't even from moment to moment. It's like if you put more than 3 bullets on a PowerPoint slide, you've lost your audience, and that's exactly what she's doing. I can't keep up. I don't know what to do. I mean, I can slow down the video. I can watch it 100 times perhaps, because it's just so much. And what I'm seeing is that if I have to watch a video 100 times, it's just under 12 minutes. I looked at the duration. It's just under 12 minutes. So just under 12 minutes of information. Loads and loads and loads of information. So now I have to watch this video again and again and again and again. So now that's 12 minutes times 4. That's 48 minutes. So it's like maybe to get a small portion of that information, I have to spend an hour to 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 get maybe a chunk, just a smidgen, a taste. It's like picking apart a large chocolate chip cookie to discard the cookie and have just the chocolate chip. That's no fun. I mean, that's a lot of work. A lot of work. So that in and of itself, if I've learned anything from that video, it is not to go too fast and not to eyes just went that way. That's an NLP thing. And not to overload with information. So that's why I'm kind of slowing my speech down right now, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Because I know that for me, when I'm excited about something, my speech, I become more physically animated in my mannerisms. My voice gets louder and I talk faster. So I really want to be mindful of that when people are listening to me. And she did a really great job of looking into the camera, like I'm doing right now. I'm getting better. I even have a little sign that says, with an arrow that says, "Look here." It's from a Post-it. I just cut the most of the Post-it off and just the adhesive strip part, and then wrote on that part, so I know where to look. And it's reminding me that I can look into the camera, and that way you can have that kind of experience with me, one of connection. You can look into my eyes. That's how we as human beings connect to one another. And anyway, it was very I don't know. I just went into like a dissociation around it, which is kind of like how I got through NLP class too. I knew there was no way that I could retain the information and make sense of it. So I just kind of sat in class, kind of half dissociated, and then allowed the practical exercises when we would break out into small groups and practice with one another, or do exercises in small groups. I would allow myself to learn what they call kinesthetically, which is through physical experience, the information that was retained or that was presented, not necessarily consciously comprehended or retained, especially because it was a lot of steps. And I actually have a learning disability or learning difference um, that deals with the following of steps. It's called, it has to do with what's called fluid processing. So fluid, of course, is flow, processing of a flow. And it's made it very challenging for me um, to do algebra or mathematical problems because of trying to follow the steps. In fact, even when I narrate something, although I have gotten better at it over the years, um, or I respond to messages like maybe there's several points in a long message on, say, like a Facebook Messenger. Like if I'm going back and forth with Hannah or something, and Hannah and I are having a conversation, and she writes something very in depth or a lot of different things, and there's a particular pace and flow. I'll end up working from the most recent to the previous and address things, because that is what's in front of me. That's how I serve as targets. Um, yeah, it's challenging. I've done a lot of work on my healing, and we're at 10 and a half minutes now. So I'll be closing this out very shortly, be wrapping it up, because, we all have an attention span that only goes so far, right? Um, as I've worked on my healing process, I've learned a lot about myself, mostly behaviorally, and well, not necessarily. I should say, like, how I think, but there, and what to do and what not to do. So my discernment has become a lot better. So I don't get myself into trouble because I'm not looking for it anymore. I can recognize trouble before I get into it. And then the other thing is there's just aspects of myself that I'm just now learning, which are more nuanced in regards to relationship or relating, social interaction, and attunement. These are muscles that have not been, didn't know I had, so they couldn't be developed, or they were set aside as a means to focus on other things for my survival in my childhood, or just outright denied development, healthy development, as a result of the traumatic experiences um, of my childhood. So, like being able to, attune to other people in such a way, or to know what is appropriate behavior, or to be able to be able to discern another person's response to to things that I say or do. These are things that I didn't that are nuanced, I guess, in social settings, nuanced responses or reactions that that are that I've had limited capacity, because I in the interest of safety, certain focuses were necessary, and other things were shut down or shut off or made of lesser importance, or just outright ignored. So it's like, don't you know how to act? Like, no, I did not. I did not know how to act. I did not know how to behave in a healthy way, because it wasn't modeled for me, and I had no guidance. I remember watching some program or some video clip about a woman inmate who was, I think she was sentenced to like maybe 20 years or maybe life imprisonment for murder as a teenager. She was able to be tried as an adult. And in her sentencing, the judge had said, said that in her sentencing, the judge had said, he said, "Don't you have any morals?" And this woman didn't even know what morals were. She had no morals, because morality was not modeled for her. So how could she know what was right, morally or ethically right or wrong, or correct or incorrect? She did not have healthy behavior modeled for her. And in my case, to a lesser extreme or a lesser extent, not extreme, that was my experience as well. And I am not unique. This is for many people. I come from an underprivileged, quote unquote, underprivileged, we're classified as underprivileged at the time when I was growing up, family. They're low income, needed some assistance at some times. I remember at one time we were on food stamps. Now they have EBT cards, but we were on food stamps. I remember them. My dad would go to the church and get a grocery bag full of food. And so we did not have resources. We did not have modeling for certain things. And of course, there was abuse and neglect in my childhood. So certain things that are maybe expected of an adult man, I didn't get as a boy. So, and then my mind doesn't work the way that most people who have not been traumatized, their mind operates. And that's because of my childhood. And that's also because of my experience in the combat zone under constant indirect fire for months at a time in Baghdad from 2007 to 2009, mostly in 2008. And it does a number on your brain when you have to function in a normal capacity, normal being subjective to the environment, um, while under the duress of people trying to kill you on a daily basis. And I functioned magnificently over there. And then cognitive dissonance kicked in when I came home, and I and I my mind couldn't make sense of the environment I was in, being back here in the United States, and it became really problematic. And that's why post traumatic, why there is a post part in the post traumatic stress disorder or syndrome or whatever they want to call it. Flack happy, I don't know, shell shocked, whatever you want to call it. I came back and my mind couldn't make sense of my environment here in peacetime or in safety. And it really was confusing and caused some very adverse uh, behaviors and reactions and coping mechanisms, which were not necessarily healthy. And my brain got scrambled. So now we're in the process of figuring things out. And I didn't have a healthy mind going into the war to begin with. Not that I had any awareness about that, but that was just the case. So now we're moving from the very obvious behaviors, overt behaviors, which are very clear to see or be pointed out, to the very, very subtle, minute little things, which are essential for having healthy interpersonal relationships and healthy communication. So one of those things is, recognizing my challenges, which is limited attention span and the capacity to receive and retain and process information, which goes back to learning how to build a website from a YouTube video, or how to operate Restream from an instruction tutorial on the YouTube or a webinar, and to just learning general information in some sort of informational video. And I prefer videos to reading because when I was a child, I was able to sit and read a Robotech novel for hours like for the entire day. Like I would finish a book in like a weekend, get it Friday, finish it by Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I just read it until I fell asleep, wake up the next day, start all over again. And I get through a book in a weekend, 400 pages, 300 something pages, doing a pocket, book novel size book. And now it's very difficult for me to sit and read for, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, if that. I just don't have it in me anymore. It's very challenging. And I have lots of books that I want to read and learn from, and I struggle with even just opening them and being able to pay attention long enough to get through 2 or 3 pages. So videos are where it's at for me. Anyway, thank you very much for spending this time. We're coming on 20 minutes, and I want to keep it short. This is a learning process for me to get things into a package that are mind and thought friendly for my audience, for you. So on that note, thank you very much. I hope that you have a great day, a great week, wherever you are. And I really appreciate your time. Take care.